So if you're looking to get into traditional archery, it can be really overwhelming trying to pick your first bow. And today, hopefully, I can make that decision just a little bit easier for you. Alright, so the first thing you want to figure out is what kind of bow is going to appeal to you most. Whether it's a recurve bow, or an English longbow, or a flat bow, and a lot of this is really just going to come down to personal preference. So when it comes to long bows or flat bows, these have limbs that only bend in one direction, like this. Whereas with recurve bows, the limbs will double back, so they bend in two directions, like these. So when it comes to the more Western style of recurve bows, like this one, you can either get these in one piece, like this, or you can get them in a takedown version, where you would have the handle, or also known as the riser, and then you'd have the two limbs, where they would normally be bolted into the handles, probably here somewhere. And these types of bows, along with most flat bows, will usually have a shelf cut out. And this is important to know because when you're buying these types of bows, you need to know which hand you're going to be shooting with. And for most people, that's going to be your dominant hand. So you would hold the bow in your non-dominant hand. And in that case, if you're holding it in your left hand, you want a shelf on the left side of the bow. And if you're going to hold it in your right hand, you want the shelf on the right side of the bow, right? So especially if you're ordering bows like this online, they'll often be listed as either a right or left-handed draw, and that refers to which hand you shoot the bow with. So right-handed draw, shelf on the left, left-handed draw, shelf on the right. So if you're interested in the more Asiatic style of bows, like these ones here, the first thing you'll notice is that you no longer have a shelf to shoot on. And one of the reasons for that is because bows like this, the handles are generally just too narrow to accommodate a shelf. But you will often find what's called an arrow pass, either a piece of leather or suede or rayskin that will be wrapped around the handle, and that's what you would use in place of a rest to put your arrow against the bow. Depending on the bow maker, you can also find bows like this with just a reinforced, I think this is some kind of stone that would be used in place of an arrow rest or a piece of leather, and that just gives you something tougher to shoot against instead of always shooting the arrows right off the wood of the bow. So once you get an idea for the kind of bow you like, the next thing you want to think about is the draw weight or the poundage of the bow. One of the worst mistakes you can make when you're starting out in archery is getting a bow that's too heavy for you. Especially in traditional archery, I think there's a big push from people saying that you need to be shooting higher poundages. And there's no reason to, really. There's no shame in starting out with a lower draw weight and working on your form and building up your strength slowly. You won't do yourself any favors buying a bow that you can't handle. You'll probably just end up struggling with it and get frustrated and maybe give up on it. You could also injure yourself. And when it comes to draw weights, most bows are built in increments of 5 pounds, most commonly at a draw length of 28 inches. Now, if you're getting into the more Asiatic bows, these can allow for a longer draw. So sometimes what you'll see is two draw weights written. You'll see one for the 28-inch draw length, and then you'll have a second draw weight for whatever the max draw length of that bow is. And that really is just going to depend on the individual bow and the design of it. So as you can see here on this one, I have a draw weight of 30 pounds at 28 inches, and then a draw weight of about 39 pounds at
33 inches, which is this particular bow's max draw length.
Standard draw length for most bows around the world is going to be 28 inches, and that's what most draw weights are going to be marked at. So with Asiatic bows, there's a few different materials you can get them in. The first one is fiberglass. So from here to here, this whole green section, that's all fiberglass wrapped in leather. And then the limb tips would be made of wood. Um, these are usually less expensive, and they can be great when you're just learning to shoot because of that. So you can just focus on your form and build up your strength without spending too much money in the beginning. This is what would be known as a laminated bow. So you would have layers of either wood or bamboo running through the core of it, and then on the front and back, you're going to have a layer of fiberglass. Um, these bows tend to be a little more on the expensive side, so that's why I suggest when you're just starting out, get a fiberglass bow. Nothing wrong with that. And when it comes to the length of your bow, shorter bows tend to be a little bit faster, but the shorter you go, the tighter the angle of the string around your fingers is going to be when you draw the bow. Um, Generally speaking, I would say any bow 60 inches or longer is probably going to be comfortable for most people. If you start getting into bows shorter than that, just remember that string around your fingers is going to be really tight. So yeah, remember guys, you want to choose a bow because you like the bow, not because somebody else told you that's the right bow for you. Um, I don't think there are right bows for beginners, but I do think there are right draw weights for beginners. So do yourself a favor, start with a lower poundage and work on your form and build up your strength slowly. You're going to have a lot more fun that way. And if you guys found any of this useful, feel free to let me know in the comments below. And until next time, I hope you guys stay safe and take care. Bye for now.